I was thinking about this the other day. Most people, when they record their vocals, use a pop filter. That would usually imply that we're losing some frequencies due to the filter material of the pop filter. And you know what? I don't think I've ever tested to see what the impact is on the audio quality or the sound that the pop filters might play. So in this video, guess what? We're going to try two different pop filters, which is this no-name pop filter that has two different layers of this black, like pantyhose material, and then a pretty expensive Stedman Pro Screen XL pop filter that is made out of metal that uses louvers to redirect the air to keep your pops from going through. So this one blocks the air, this one redirects the air, and I want to know, do either of these impact the sound on vocals? So let's find out. Now, if you're looking for recommendations for gear for your home studio, like pop filters or mic cables or microphones, I have a free home studio gear guide in the description. Now, those recommendations are based on testing data and science, so it'll help you find the best budget gear possible and also give you recommendations for different levels depending on your budget. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely go and grab a copy. So this is how I'm going to test these pop filters. I have a reference microphone that I will set up in front of my speakers. I have a vocalist performance that I'm going to play back through the speakers and record it using the microphone. That is going to be our baseline reference. Then I will put both these filters in between the microphone and the speaker so we can hear what attenuation, if any, we can perceive, and to see if my like $80 investment in that pop filter was worth it. The song, just like the last few videos, is by a band called Once Around. This is called Love and War. It's a killer track that I mixed. Sounds like this. We have a really strong lead vocal performance, so I'm excited to do this shootout. All right, so let's just get the dry vocal going.
I see you staring out your basement window and...
Perfect. All right, let's set up this microphone and get some pop filters in the way, baby. All right, so now I'm going to do my best to make sure that I don't bump this. Now, one other thing I want to mention before I get going on this is I've shut off my other speaker, so that will eliminate any chance of comb filtering just from having an object that could be interfering with that sound getting into that microphone. So any comb filtering and stuff that we hear will actually be from the pop filter itself. So let's get the original take.
But I don't know what to do with you.
Awesome. Get this black fabric. You know what? I'm just going to hold it. I don't trust me putting it on the stand without moving it. So let's just do it this way.
But I don't know what to do with you.
Awesome. Damn it. I just hit the stupid mic. Start over.
But I...
Careful.
But I don't know...
Don't screw it up, Bobby. All right. Moment of truth. Can I put this in front without smacking it again? Man, I'm an idiot. Get it.
But I...
And you know what? These louvers have an orientation to them, so let's just, for the sake of science, have it also at 90 degrees to see if that affects the performance at all. Here we go.
But I...
Great. Now I just smacked it again. That's okay. We're done. The testing is over. Let's hear what these different things sound like. So it's likely you're going to get a little bit of my room noise. It's going to sound a little distant from the speaker, but this is a very dead studio. It should be pretty representative across all four of these. This is just a microphone and the vocal.
But I don't know what to do with you. Don't know how to spill the truth.
Let's listen to the filter.
But I don't know what to do with you. Don't know how. But I don't know what to do with you. Don't know how to spill the truth. You are all in my head. But I don't know what to do with you. Don't know how to spill the truth. You are all in my head.
On my first listen, to me, it sounds like the black fabric does actually attenuate some of the really airy, breathy sounds from the original. They're just missing. And I think the Stedman filter in both positions has a little bit more of the air to it. So to get a little bit more technical, let's try to do a null test. So I'm going to invert the phase of the original, and we're going to compare the two different samples, and anything that's different, we'll be able to hear. Anything that's exactly the same is going to phase cancel out. So here are the results of the null test. Anything that we're hearing is what the filter is doing to the sound. So this is the frequencies that we're going to lose using these pop filters. Here we go.
But I don't know what to do with you. Don't know how to spill the truth. You are all in my. But I don't know what to do with you. Don't know how to spill the truth. You are all in my.
So again, the loudest sounds means that it changes the sound of the voice the most. So I honestly think the Stedman metal filter in a 90-degree orientation actually is the most transparent way to remove pops from a microphone, followed by the Stedman filter facing upright, and lastly, just that black fabric. And for those that are supporting this channel with the membership, I have a link to download all these test files so you can go and bring them into your DAW and experiment. And I also have this white noise file, so if you want to do a shootout with your pop filters, you can do that. Just follow exactly what I did here. You can see that in the members only post. So I want to do one more experiment just to verify what's really going on with these pop filters. And what I discovered is that there are some big differences. And even though we can hear differences with the null test, which I have here, it still isn't super clear how big those differences are. So instead, what I did was generate a white noise sample for 10 seconds. And this is using free software called Audacity. And then I did the exact same thing where I played the white noise file back and then recorded the audio without a filter and then all the filters. Now, white noise is equal amplitude at all frequencies. So if there are differences, we should be able to perceive it. It should be a little bit more noticeable than a vocal. So let me jump through these differences here. We can hear that it sounds like the top end is a little bit attenuated. If we jump between no filter and the metal filter, it's almost identical. I really don't hear any major differences. It sounds very balanced to me. And then if we do the Stedman metal filter sideways, again, very balanced sounding to me. So if I jump through all four of these, there's one that jumps out that I can always pick out in a blind shootout. Let me see if you can identify which one stands out. You can clearly hear that that fabric pop filter has some frequency attenuation in those really bright, airy frequencies that the Stedman and then the one without any filter at all don't have. So that fabric is actually doing some sort of absorption of that top end air. And that's the exact reason why the Stedman filter was brought into existence, was to combat that high frequency loss from these types of fabric-based pop filters. I am not sponsored or endorsed by Stedman or any of these other pop filters. This is just something I was naturally curious about. If we look at the null test or the delta files, think of these as what is actually being absorbed. So if you hear high frequencies in the delta files, the high frequencies are being lost. Okay, here we go. And you can hear how much more that fabric pop filter absorbs those high frequencies. If you want even more evidence, if we look at the statistics of these three samples, this is pretty mind-blowing. Check out the integrated loudness between the three. Okay, so down here, integrated loudness. So the louder these are or closer to zero, that is going to be the more it is absorbing frequencies from our signal, okay, or the vocalist or whatever instrument you're putting in front of the pop filter. We start with the fabric pop filter. It's minus 33. Then it goes to minus 35.5, and then all the way to minus 37.5. That fabric is actually absorbing, on average, over those 10 seconds, almost 2.5 dB in those high frequencies. And we know it's high frequencies because that's what we hear. and it's like 4.5 dB when you have the Stedman pop filter turned sideways. Whether or not that still makes it effective as a pop filter because of the louver design of the Stedman, I don't know, but I thought it was super interesting to show. So overwhelmingly, we're seeing that there are differences between these pop filters. And I'd imagine you would probably amplify these results if you then go and compress vocals and do a lot of other processing to them. So kind of an interesting experiment. Now, the Stedman did have better performance in the high frequencies, meaning it didn't absorb those really sizzly top-end sounds that might be more important for pop or other types of vocal forward music. When we perform the Null test, there certainly is a difference from the original content, but I'll leave that up to you to decide if you think it'll impact the quality of your song at the end of the day. So the next time you're recording vocals, try doing a take with and without the pop filter. If you or your vocalist just have a hard time controlling their plosives, maybe try tilting the microphone at a 45-degree angle, and then compare all the different takes to see which is your favorite. Now, if you do take the time to do that, be sure to come back, leave a comment, and let me know your experience. Or if you just have an opinion about pop filters, also drop me a comment. I'll fight anybody. I mean, I'm willing to listen to what you have to say. Don't forget to grab my home studio gear guide in the description. That is my gift to you. And with that, I want to thank you so much for your time and attention. My name is Bobby Balo. I'm the mixing and mastering engineer at Rayton Productions, and I'll see you in another video.